It's been months since Longlegs was released. I had to collect all my thoughts and it took long, which is fine. We're here now. The war is over. On the off chance that this video finds people other than my usual audience who are familiar with my vibes, it's okay. It's just a movie. It's just a video. Half the world is on fire, the other half is drowning. Stop being mad at me. You can keep your white man, y'all. I don't want him. I'm not gonna recap the movie in this video, instead I'm gonna give you the story, so if you haven't watched it, you might be confused. That's not on me. I'm only here to explain to you why I think Longlegs is an imperfectly crafted lie. Longlegs used to be a glam rock star who then started hearing the devil's whispers and became a bottom for Satan. With the power that was bestowed upon him, he started making these dolls with metal balls inside that would soon infect innocent families. Each doll was made in the image of the girl that it was gifted to. Each victimized family had a daughter whose birthday was on the 14th of any given month, and the murders occurred either 6 days before or after their 9th birthday. The crime scenes showed no signs of forced entry, and the weapons came from the house itself and belonged to the families. In every crime scene, the only thing left behind was a tragedy and a letter signed by Longlegs. These dolls would somehow drive the fathers to wipe out their entire families in brutal ways before killing themselves. Our main character is an FBI agent named Lee Harker who gets assigned to the case after she wipes out a suspect. They think they can use her psychic empath abilities to crack the Longlegs case that's been cold for almost 30 years. We learned that a day before Lee's 9th birthday, Longlegs also visited her and tried to give her a birthday gift, a Lee doll. Her mom intervened and prevented that from happening and shooed his pedo-looking, Casper-looking ass away. Of course, he came back with a vengeance, and in order to save her daughter's life, Ruth Harker made a deal with Longlegs and became his accomplice, which resulted in Longlegs permanently moving into their home. Ruth would dress up like a nun, go door to door to deliver these dolls as a birthday gift from the church, and watch as carnage ensued. Lee doesn't remember any of this because through her doll, Longlegs or the devil has an effect on her and they control her life, so she only sees things they want her to see. Lee isn't the only survivor either. 1 year later, Longlegs and Ruth hit up the Cameron family, and their only daughter Carrie Ann survived because she had to go to school that day. Following the clues left by Longlegs, the FBI finds Carrie Ann's doll in the attic at their farm locked inside a box. And when they take it out, the real Carrie Ann, who's been in a catatonic and unresponsive state for almost 20 years, gets cured. When they go to the psychiatric hospital she stays in, they're told that the day before, the day they found the doll, she was visited by Longlegs. Carrie Ann describes the years she's been kept locked in the dark, and we can tell just how much these dolls affect the girls because she's basically ready to become Longlegs' servant if he wants her to. Longlegs gets himself caught on purpose, and after saying vague encrypted shit, he smashes his head on the desk. Lee finds out about him living in their basement for basically half her life and her mom's crimes. She gains her consciousness back after Ruth destroys her doll. She wakes up in the basement and gets a phone call from someone that says she's late to Miss Ruby's birthday party, Agent Carter's daughter. She jumps into the car and drives over just to find that she's too late and the family has already been taken under the doll's control. Agent Carter takes his wife to the kitchen to cut the cakes. Spoiler, he doesn't cut the cakes, he cuts her, and Lee shoots both him and her own mom. The movie ends with her trying to shoot Ruby's doll, but the clip is empty. Oh yeah, also, Hail Satan. I have a complicated relationship with Longlegs, which is why it took so long for me to make this video. It wasn't because I'm lazy, okay? It was because the more I thought about the movie, the more I would find things I love and also hate about it. No, I don't think Longlegs is a bad movie, but I also don't think Longlegs is a good movie. I think Longlegs is a loose movie. It was practically impossible for me to put my thoughts in order, and honestly, this is because I'm lazy. So the rest of this video will be a dumpster fire. That's why it's really crucial that you've already watched the movie. At least have some semblance of order in this video, just like Longlegs had a semblance of genius. I will start with the things I liked about the movie. When Lee and Carter are talking about the case that one night, Agent Carter says Lee's theory of how Longlegs works reminds him of Charles Manson, which Lee replies with, Manson had accomplices. His family. When you find out that Longlegs was basically playing daddy with the Harker family, this becomes a cute little detail on second watch. Longlegs served the devil by making dolls. Ruth served the devil by delivering them, and Lee served the devil by becoming an FBI agent even though she wanted to become an actor. Guys, don't laugh, this is the truth. The murder started the year she was born, and she caught both Longlegs and Ruth and caused their death once directly and once indirectly. She killed her own mom on her birthday, which was the plan all along, ruining an innocent family, the most innocent, and pulling them into a web of sins. Lee and Ruby share a birthday, which makes this one particular scene really terrifying when you know that simple fact. When Lee and her mom are on the phone, Ruth says somebody's birthday is coming. It's a line that can be missed very easily as Lee's attention is elsewhere, but when you pick it up, the movie's ending makes more sense. I have no doubt in my mind that Ruth knew the last time she would deliver a doll would be to the Carter's home, to Ruby. She knew of the events that was going to unfold in that house on that day on her daughter's birthday. You see, when you make a sacrifice that causes this much damage, you start resenting. It's kind of funny how that works because you made the sacrifice to protect that person, but the body aches and the resentment builds up, especially if the sacrifice comes with a secret. Ruth destroyed herself and her whole life to protect Lee, to give her the chance to grow up, and just for that, a dozen girls and their families had to perish, and Lee doesn't remember a thing about it. She doesn't remember the sacrifice. When Lee questions her mom and Ruth says little girls like her shouldn't know about these things, something visibly shifts in her attitude towards her daughter after Lee says she's not little anymore. She gets mad, almost that Lee doesn't even know what it took for her to be able to say that. That resentment is present when Ruth shoots Lee's doll. She doesn't do it because she thinks this will set Lee free in the sense that it's over, because she still has one more doll to deliver. She's in costume. She does it so that Lee can remember the deal and witness what that really meant for her mom when she would eventually arrive at the birthday party. She wanted to say, "This is what I had to do for you. This is how helpless I felt, and this is how much it hurt every single time." She wasn't there as a mother whose only wish was to protect her kid, but as a mother who hated every single second and was finally at the end of it. I saw some people complain that there was no difference in Lee before or after she gained her consciousness, so I will defend Micah Monroe here because she was the only subtle thing about this movie. The entire time Lee is nothing but an anxious little being with a voice that trembles if the wind blows a leaf in her direction. The scene of her screaming in the car as she's driving to meet her doom is the only time she shows an emotion that is an anxiety, fear, or puzzlement. The fact that she does it in the car Longlegs owns, and that the shots are almost identical, shows just how much he had an effect on her, not only as a doll maker, but also as a father figure. She lived alongside the man who destroyed her life for years, and didn't even know about it. So how tragic is it that she resembles him more than she would ever want to? I think we would all agree that Carter saying, "No, I'll be back, you'll still be in the kitchen," as he and his wife are going to the kitchen to cut the cakes, is cold as hell. But there are two more neat details here that I want to talk about. Just before they get up, Anna says, "Do you have to?" This indicates he'll be the one cutting the cakes, not them, which indicates she knows what's coming, which also explains Carrie Ann's mom's reaction of pure bliss before the axe came. The dolls have a different effect on each member of the family. Dads become angry, moms act oblivious, and kids are attached to their toys. To me, this is what a family who's trying to paint an everything is alright picture looks like. In a traditional household, when the parents have a fight, moms usually adopt more of a hyper vibe, trying their hardest to cover up the uneasiness in the room, while dads become more passive-aggressive, maybe making rude remarks. They can't cover up their anger as well as their wives. And the kids play with their toys while having to listen to the fight in the other room, which in result, toys become a comfort for kids. If you have parents who had a fight almost every day, you're already familiar with this dynamic really well. This is the first detail. The second one is what Carter says in response to that. "Do I have to cut up the cakes? Yeah, I gotta cut the cakes. It was your stupid fucking suggestion in the first place, so I have to cut the cakes." Now, I don't think the stupid suggestion in this case is buying a birthday cake for your child's birthday. The Carters don't exactly seem to be a religious family to me, and if they were in a movie like this when there's only 3 families we see, it would be ridiculous to not make that known to the audience, at least with a cross on the wall. So the suggestion here seems to be accepting this strange nun into their home, even though they don't even go to church. Knowing that Agent Carter is an alcoholic, my guess is Anna probably saw a nun showing up at their doorstep as a sign, and even though she doesn't believe in a religion wholeheartedly, she'll try whatever she can so he doesn't drink anymore. This is also important because this potentially signifies the families aren't really what they seem to be. Carrie Ann's mom was also the one who welcomed Ruth inside, and the dad's reaction to seeing what it was all for kind of lines up with the dynamic that's going on at the Carter's house. Anna unknowingly welcomed their destruction right inside their home because she just wanted to save her family. Unfortunately, these were the only parts I actually liked about the movie, so now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna start insulting, but it's only fair because he insulted me first. I wanna start with the ARG because I thought the ARG was dumb, and I think I'm the only one who has this opinion. Not to be confused with the rest of the PR Neon team did, the billboards, the phone call, the teasers were all genius moves. I'm talking specifically about the Birthday Murders website. There are 2 extensive videos you can watch if you want to learn more about the website. I'll link them in the description. And what I'm about to say has nothing to do with that channel. Just want to make that clear so there's no misunderstanding. Birthday Murders website went online as a part of the movie's PR. An unofficial investigator who calls themselves a friend of a friend of a friend made the website so that all the information about the Longlegs case is collected in one place. This is the biggest piece in the ARG because aside from all the info about the murder victims, there are also coded letters and files that contain crime scene photos. I have to admit, most of it is just meaningless. There's nothing on that website that has any importance to understanding the movie or deepening its message. On the contrary, I think it jumbles its message. Most of the letters from Longlegs is repetitive, cool. The victims shared names with saints. Cool. The dates were important some hundreds of years ago because of a religious celebratory reason. Cool. Crime scene photos tell you absolutely jack shit, even though they're protected with a cipher. Cool. This all meant nothing. In the movie, in 2 instances, we see a red piano, which supposedly had a meaning but was then cut in post, so I guess in the ARG they tried to tie it to the Mesopotamian mythology. Or maybe Os Perkins also did, since this one post on the official Longlegs Instagram said, "Behold Hanbi." That's interesting only for like a second because all the information is like a Wikipedia page away, and it's just confusing because all the details in the movie indicate that these bitches ganged up. Connect the shadowy figure to Hanbi because he's the lord of all evil. Connects Red Piano and Longlegs' old career to Pazuzu, Hanbi's son, because he's a wind demon. Connect the fate of the victims to Lamashtu because she's known to cause harm to families for fuck all. And connect Cedar Box the dolls are kept inside of, which is mentioned in a fucking poem, to Hanbi again because he created the guardian of Cedar Forest, Humbaba, the dude Gilgamesh beat in an epic chat fight. And also connect the random snake imagery in the movie also to Pazuzu because he had a serpentine dick. This is all because Lee is fatherless, by the way. I think if this connection was made by Os Perkins, it's just because of another one of his inspirations, The Exorcist, since the devil possessing the little girl in that movie was Pazuzu. But even if so, there's nothing in the movie that suggests that. This is canon. So it's either a writing mistake, a huge one, or Neon Team pulled this out of their ass. Either way, it's just very amateur work, in my opinion. In the ARG, there are 2 more specific things that just made me mad, okay? For no reason. Listen, no reason at all, okay? That's worth the mess with the movie's already a loose narrative. They changed the ages of the little girls. Their ages range from 9 to 13 now. If the ages didn't matter, why was it presented as crucial information? They also added a bit about the murder weapons changing after a certain time. I really don't know why. Usually a change in the murder weapon, especially if it leads to a more violent scene, indicates a change in the serial killer's MO, right? Maybe a trigger, maybe the cops did something to anger them, or the last victim said or did something to trigger a past trauma, or maybe something happened in their personal lives to shift a piece in their psyche. When you're dealing with the fucking devil, you see why that would come off as stupid, because he's the devil. He can't get more evil. He is the most evil. That's kind of his thing. That's his brand. That's kind of all he's got. If you enjoyed the ARG, I'm glad you had fun, but I'm more glad it's over, because if I had to see one more person say that Lee is the Antichrist and she's gonna become the president of United States to bring upon the end times, I was gonna kill myself. Now, let's just talk about things that I just don't understand, from fan reactions to filmmakers' comments. For one, I don't understand how anyone can call this movie ambiguous. Titan was ambiguous. Stop motion was ambiguous. Saying Longlegs was ambiguous is like saying Hereditary was ambiguous. Guys, just because we're not given any information about how any of this devil shit works in the movie, that doesn't make the movie ambiguous. Longlegs was never about the devil for Os Perkins, so he never bothered to explain the evil workings of his own creation. Longlegs was about the sacrifice a mother has to make for her kid, how far she would go to protect her kid, and how destructive secrets and sacrifices can be to a family. He was inspired by his own family situation, his dad being in the closet his entire life and then dying of AIDS, and Osgood himself coming to terms with the fact that so much of his life was a lie and trying to fathom the pain his parents, especially his dad, must have been in while trying to keep that perfect family picture up. There's a fucking exposition dump. In the last 15 minutes of this movie, they explained shit to us from scratch, as if we haven't been watching the movie for an hour and a half at that point with our adult brains. How are you gonna say this is ambiguous? But then again, I saw an alarming amount of people say that they didn't see the shadowy devil figures that show up all throughout the movie until the second watch. Did you forget to open your eyes the first time you watched the movie? They weren't even subtle with it. Homie was just chilling in the back in almost every scene. Like, I get missing this, or even this one, but motherfucker, the only thing that moves in the shot is him. Look at the pixels, man. They're changing. Or like, was this not big enough for you to notice? Here, they made him bigger for you. Huh? Still? Nothing? I don't understand people who say Nick Cage outdid himself with this one. Nick Cage was Nick Cage. In this one, I don't think Nick Cage can outdo himself. I don't think that's possible, but considering this wasn't even his craziest performance to date, I know y'all don't know that man like I do. Y'all be lying all the time. I don't understand Oz Perkins saying he wanted to subvert expectations with this movie, trick us into thinking this is some crime thriller similar to Silence of the Lambs just to reveal the devil. Your main character found a suspect based on the vibe change in the air in the first 5 minutes of this movie. We were either gonna think there's some supernatural stuff happening or that she has the nose of a bloodhound. If that was your intention with this, the PR team also did you dirty, because let alone the people who follow the ARG, but no one who watched even a single teaser was thinking this movie is just your run-of-the-mill FBI procedural. You were cooked from the beginning. I don't fucking understand this evidence board. I mean, look at this evidence board. They got singular symbols nailed on there. Those two, the same symbols, just made them yin-yang. These three as well, one horizontal, one vertical, and one handwritten for some reason. There are some letters and then some cut up ones for no reason. You can't even tell which symbol that's supposed to be. There are a couple Polaroids. I can't tell what they are. But I'm not seeing any transcribed notes. I'm seeing no attempt at putting together an alphabet, no evidence of murder weapons. I'm seeing a Pinterest board. Is what I'm seeing. A Pinterest board. This movie is ruled by vibes, man. Look at her vibing out a suspect. Look at her looking at a Pinterest board. That's so vibes. Look at them looking at the metal ball that vibrates. The metal ball vibrates. It's almost like it reminds the men of their incompetence in bed, so they kill their family in shame. I don't understand people who theorize that Ruby having dolls in her room or that Lee's hoarder mom having dolls around has some deeper meaning. They're girls. A fork found in a kitchen. Devil's pee-pee found in Longlegs. I don't understand Oz Perkins saying he made Longlegs pathetic on purpose because serial killers are not cool, they're losers, and should not be idolized. I agree, but does Oz Perkins really want me to believe he didn't think the freaks would fuck with a flamboyant dude with the coolest nickname who used to do glam rock until the devil spoke to him one day? And now he's obsessed with pleasing the devil, going as far as having several botched plastic surgeries to look pretty for him. He fully knew that if he made Longlegs a generic white dude instead of a white chick, then no one would care about his movie. Like, how gullible do you think I am, actually? I can tell you right now there will be more people dressed up as Longlegs than Hannibal or John Doe or any real-life serial killer this Halloween, and not only because he's the white boy of the month, but because you made him campy on purpose. You marketed the movie around a campy as fuck character played by Nick Cage to horror fans, who are, infamously known as camp lovers. I don't know if you noticed. Everything about this movie just tells me that Oz Perkins is a horrible, horrible liar, which is good. Lying is bad, but the thing about horrible liars is that they often think that you're stupid, and that's frustrating. But despite my frustration with him, I can see that this movie holds some value for Osgood Perkins. I'm always happy to see someone who was able to find a creative outlet for their bad experiences or past traumas, or can sense that this meant something to him, and that's great. I just personally wish he settled with a movie that was more intimate and not one he Frankensteined by borrowing what he liked about other movies that meant other things to other people so that he could lure the audience in with false promises. It's kind of ironic if you think about it. The point of the movie is how veiling the truth can be detrimental to a family, and his attempt at veiling the true story was detrimental to his own movie. Also, good sir, that is not how you fucking Vogue.